The first one is that I think we need to stop being grateful. As parents, we often apologize for our children with disabilities, and we act as if it's whatever anybody does for us, whether it's the government, the community, our neighbors, other family members, that they're doing us a favor. And I think we have to stop this gratitude business. I think in Delhi it's a little bit less, but in Uttarakhand it's very, very strong, particularly among the poorer families that we work with. They are so grateful for what little things we do for them. It's like, throw me a bone, you know, they just want something. And I think we have to assert ourselves more that our children are also citizens of this country and they have rights just as any other child does. And when we start to think about school and education as a right and a duty for a parent to educate their child, we change the whole argument. And then that very word, inclusion, included, they were just going to school. Now when we get to that point with Moi Moi, that her going to school is the same as any other child, we will have changed the entire game plan here. And I think that's what we have to be in the country. We also have to raise our expectations for our kids. They are capable of far, far more than we realize. And I think we've seen the evidence of that at Amba, at Lemon Tree, at Muskan. But it doesn't happen by magic. If we want our children to get to the point where they can get across town, changing 2 buses, and never get lost in 12 years, hold a job which is responsible and where they earn a salary, we have to start very, very early, and that's where early intervention comes in. Now, for many of us, it's too late. Our kids, my daughter is 28, many of you have older children. You may feel, oh, I've missed the boat. Early intervention is no longer a possibility for me. But it's still a possibility for many other people. And as parents who have children with disability, it is it's our pleasure, really, to help others who are just beginning this journey. So I hope that you will take this imperative for early intervention very, very seriously. Talk to your neighbors, talk to your relatives, get people aware as soon as they possibly can be and demanding the services that their children need. It's actually good for the country. If we don't invest in early intervention, it costs the country much more at a later date. A little bit now saves us much more later. And in Dehradun, in Uttarakhand, we run an early diagnostics and assessment center, and Navneet asked me to mention this. It's called Gubara, and it's in a government hospital, and we provide a comprehensive assessment of any child with a disability, completely free of charge. I've only got a minute. Okay, I'm going to move right along, so I'll tell you about Gubara some other time. The third thing I think that we have to look at is a concrete plan for inclusion. At the Latika Roy Foundation, we are working on developing an inclusion toolkit, and it's a fascinating piece of work. It's involved numbers of people in this, in its development. So we have created a series of checklists. There are 5 checklists in the inclusion toolkit. One is for the child, and it tells us what the child is capable of doing right now, about the family, and what the family can do at home to help, about the staff who are working with the child right now, thinking about a school. What are the qualities that we want to see in the school that we are going to enroll our child in? And for the school itself, what are the things the school needs to put into place to make sure that inclusion is a reality and a happy one and a productive one? We don't want children just sitting in classrooms, we want them actually learning. So there are a number of very concrete steps that we can take to prepare our kids for a successful experience with education. And I'm going to end with a quote from Leonard Bernstein. He says, "To achieve great things, what is needed is a plan and not quite enough time." I think those 2 things are very important. Our toolkit gives us a plan, and I can talk more about that later, and our urgency is what's going to make it happen. If we are relaxed about it, if we think we've got all the time in the world, there are only 4 or 5 right now, long time before they turn 18 and we need to start thinking about jobs, we will never accomplish it. So we need that sense of urgency, but we also need a concrete plan.